Yeah, mad. This is delayed.
Yeah, right. I was like, we're not there yet.
But every time as well, like always, like I should never be sus on Ricky now because he always, because I always see what I'm doing now, just talking about it, like it always pops up like this. So yeah. Anyway, coolio. So, Godpodzilla cast. First of all, we always like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land and pay respects to elders past, present, and future. Blessed to be here. We got the crew today. Big shout out to the crew. We got Ricky in the place to be. We got RJ.
Hey.
The special sauce. Esky. Oh yeah, boy. And we got Jeff kicking back on the lounge. He'll be kicking back there for a while. We'll see what goes on. That's his spot. But then we got. Oh, you know what? No, I got to give a shout out to my man. Big shout out to Mackenzie today, yo.
Yeah,
I love my missus. And the kids. I'll give a shout out to them as well. But then we got Dobby. Dobby! Bro.
It is so good to see you, brother.
Bro, so
Serious, man.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Man, I was just saying to you before, you know, I actually wanted to get you on last year, but, you know, we got a little bit pressed with the different format. Then I was like, definitely this season. So I called up Viv. We'll talk about Viv later, but big love to Viv. It was a bit about timing.
Yeah.
You know, I feel like you're someone more people need to really know about, but we'll chat about why in a second, you know, respect. But, you know, we like to get people a little bit familiar with you. I will do a bit of a housekeeping thing. Make sure that you talk into that thing, not that you're unfamiliar with that. But some people, even the MCs, they get a bit like lost in the like, yo, let me, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So yeah, I'd like to get people a little bit familiar with, you know, who you are and all that. So first question, mate, where'd you grow up? And you know, childhood, what were you into early years?
I grew up, born and raised in Wollongong. My childhood was all there on Darawal country. My mother is from the Philippines, so she arrived in Australia in 1985 from Tacloban. And hey, represent Philo Pride. So we got so many Filipinos up in the place.
There's a lot of Filipinos up in the place. I'm not gonna lie.
Put your Filipino flags in the comment section right now.
Bro, what an MC guy already.
Yeah, and so my father as well is, you know, we're Murawari. So my grandmother, his mother, was born and raised in Brewarrina, Nambar country, northwest New South Wales. Her father was born under the birthing tree on the Colgoa River, just 1 hour north of Brewarrina in a place called Wilmaringal. Population about 70, probably now 40. It's just it's one street. It's like house, post office, house. All right. And
you sound very familiar with this town.
Yeah. I've been there. Yeah.
Straight up.
One of the houses. But yeah, so that's my family. That's my, you know, my identity. But me, I grew up in Wollongong, and I, you know, lived in Sydney since 2012, and been studying there, playing there ever since.
Word up, man. Dope that you're dropping the culture thing straight away. We'll chat about that. Coming up in Australia as well, always like to ask the guests, hip-hop experience, your first hip-hop experience. And I suppose I always ask this question less about your involvement and more about like, because, and I always sort of contextualize this question too with, you know, it's not the biggest, what do you call it, genre, or at least it wasn't a couple of years ago, especially when we were all getting into it. So what was your first experience, and when did you like sort of see the culture and the music and be like, yo, I love that?
I feel like this, man, I'm so glad that we're able to talk about this, because every time I am asked about like influences or, you know, who did you listen to growing up, I feel like I have to like brush past that question. Like I'll say a couple of names and then I'll leave it be. Because like we just came from Canberra, so like, you know, with it in front of a classical crowd, I was like, oh, Lupe Fiasco, Lauryn Hill.
And they're like,
they're like, Okay.
I mean, they're no Beethoven, but you're sure, whatever.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, man, like Lupe Fiasco, Lauryn Hill, The Far Side, MF Doom,
Yup.
Eminem,
R.I.P..
you know, Snoop Dogg. And it's interesting, like the first album I heard of Snoop Dogg, like start to finish, was the Blue Carpet Treatment, which is a weird one, eh? Like
Really?
yeah. And the first Eminem album I ever heard was Encore. It's like I come in. It's like I've dropped in like the midway point.
That's
heard
a weird pocket.
the start albums of a lot of artists.
So you had to go back on that.
First album I heard of MF Doom was Food.
Yeah.
Not, you know, what was it, Operation Doomsday?
Yeah. No.
Yeah, so it's interesting. It's like I've come in and then I have to like backtrack.
How was that? Like, how was that? Because I mean, for you know, a lot of other people's listening, obviously they hit first or second albums, which were still as far Blue Carpet Treatment. Wait, hang on a
I
minute.
know, of all the albums as well, like
Wait.
Blue Carpet Treatments.
What was the single off that?
Yo,
I couldn't tell you.
where it right at the I remember the you know Vato and that song with that dude R. Kelly's in it.
Oh,
you know the
damn.
one.
Yeah,
That's that shit.
Oh, yeah.
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 Okay. Bizarre. Yeah. So how was that? Tell me this then. Like going back, right, and then hearing the classics that were before those albums. What sort of impact did it have to then dig backwards and just find this like crazy music?
It made me sort of backtrack the influence as well, because like I would first. It's so funny. Like I heard, say the best example is Outkast, right? That was one of the first albums I ever bought. Was Speakerbox, The Love Below, 2003.
That was
Outkast.
pretty commercial too, which is
hugely commercial,
crazy.
and it was like an album they've been working on for years. You know, it's 40 tracks in total, and I first heard that. And I was like, "This is dope! Like that's what I love about Outkast, and that's what I kind of started to think about their sound." Then I heard Stankonia, and then I heard AT Aliens,
yep.
and it's like, oh, this is very different. And like, I kind of wish that I heard it from the start to hear their growth like naturally.
Yeah,
but I didn't. It's super weird, super strange.
Did you ever get an artist where you were like, "This is hectic," then you went back and be like, "Yo, they start off really whack."
Yeah.
I'm so glad I didn't hear him on this.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, there's a couple albums like that I feel like, it left an impression backwards. I don't know. It's super weird. Yeah, I don't know what it is about that, but I love it though, because that's the impression that you kind of roll with that and becomes your early influences, no matter who the artist is, no matter what the album is or how many albums. It's just like that's what you sort of understand about storytelling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, word up, man, which is obviously, something very important for you as well, specifically. And I'll definitely get into that. One thing I'm interested about you as well is performing, because the thing for you is, you're a multi-instrumentalist of sorts, like, your keys, your drums, and which is insane, man. And if you haven't watched Dobby perform, you are missing the fuck out. Let me just add. I got a story for him later about you, but anyway. But like, so I asked this question more innocently and less maybe to do with hip hop, maybe. But your first experience of performing, like, what did that look like for you? Like, and like, was were instruments early, of age for you?
I've always wanted to perform. Like, I used to think about it all the time as a primary school kid.
Really?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I used to.
Here we go.
I had this dream that, like, I still remember in my head. It's so corny, man. But, like, it's like me and, like, this other kid from primary school. His name was Michael something. And we both had sunglasses on, because that was my idea of what was cool, is if we had sunglasses. And we were, like, in my dream, like, on a stage. And there wasn't even any song I remember to it. We were just on the stage with sunglasses. And everyone was like, man, they've got sunglasses. Like, that's hectic. I've always had that sort of, like, that weird vision of, like,
Burnt
that's
into your head.
sick. Like, I want that.
You know you made it when you're wearing sunglasses on
Yeah.
the stage. Wait. Just on a side note, have you since worn sunglasses
No,
on a
man,
stage?
I'm not a sunglasses person. I don't
We
think
need
I
to get that done, bro. That's a
fucking-
story right there, G. Straight up. I want to be there for that.
That's
Just
so
one
funny.
show. Can I be in attendance? If I throw you glasses, because I know you tell your stories on stage, can you tell that story and then do a track with glasses on stage?
Yeah, great. Yeah,
Fuck,
I
mad.
will do
All right,
that. That's
sweet.
the. That's
I'm
the
holding you
deal.
to that, and you know that
Yeah.
I will hold
Unless
you to
they're
that.
corny sunglasses, then I'm gonna.
But
be
they're
like-
corny, and it's
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah, yeah,
whatever. Sorry, we were getting off the So instrumentalist, first performing. So you always wanted to perform.
But the first performance, I think, was like, the first time I jumped up on the stage, actually was with Morganix. He was doing a show at like a small version of Yours and Ours, I think, at Wollongong, or like it was like I don't know, some sort of a community day.
Yep.
And he was there, and I didn't realize it was Morganix until afterwards. But he was like he was getting people up on the stage, and I was with my buddy Urchi, and we both got up on the stage, and there's a photo somewhere, and I've got like pimples and braces, and I'm up on the stage, and I'm like, having the best time. It was so much fun.
Glassesless.
Yeah. I wasn't cool enough to have the sunnies.
No. I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you made it happen irrespective of glasses. You know what I mean? So, and that was rap?
Yeah. He was
Okay.
freestyling. I think that might have been my first experience seeing people freestyle as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was
word.
Morganix. One of the first
How was
experiences.
that as well? That would have been pretty impactful. Like, how old were you at this stage?
12,
12.
I would say. Yeah, 12.
And then how did it see? Because was most of your impression of hip hop, I suppose, in Australia, like, what was most of your impression of hip hop American at that stage, or you were still exposed to a bit of it, or was this like the first experience where you saw? Because it's crazy, you know, like even speaking to Esky and some of the boys, you know, some of their experiences of really just seeing real like Australian rap in the flesh was circumstances like that, where they went down to something and like
Truth.
bang, then all of a sudden it's in their face.
It's like a sort of feeling of inaccessibility.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like
So-
lack of accessibility. I remember seeing Bliss and Esso on Rove, and that was a big moment because it was the first instance of hip hop on prime TV, right?
Mhm.
And that was big, you know, and it was like obvious for everyone. We were like, yeah, of course they would rock it. It's Bliss and Esso.
Yeah.
They were like, the crowd wants that. But it was the first time it's ever happened. That was like maybe early 2005 or something like that.
So mind melting.
But I think about artists like most of my influences are American. You know, like I said, like Far Side, Snoop Dogg, and that, and also Black Eyed Peas. And Black Eyed Peas was the first instance of seeing a Filipino rapper, Apple Diap. And I remember telling my mom about Apple Diap, and I was like, "This guy's Filipino," and she had like a community radio station down there in Wollongong. She was like, "Give me the CD, I will play it."
You're like, yeah, and then she's just fully like,
I think
they're all
played-
Filipino.
yeah. She was like, she brought it to like this community radio station for the Filipino community in Shell Harbour. It was great. And I was like,
You're like, I'm this close to being a DJ on the radio.
yeah. Yeah.
That's mad, man. Interesting as well to know. And shout out to Morganix, man. He's always been super active in communities as well, and doing his bit. I suppose then going into more of then your actual hip hop and shows and local connects. What was the? I mean, I don't know if I think I know the answer to this. Maybe not. But when did you start to carve out a little bit of a name for yourself? And when was your first, I suppose, rap show for you? And what did that look like?
First rap show.
Yeah, for you, where you would have got booked and was like, "Yo, Dobby, MC," like, here's your set.
Oh,
Name on a flyer type shit.
Dude. Okay. This is a good story.
Okay, sweet. Here we go.
Shout out to Jen Lau, actually, because she was one of the people that like pushed me to start performing.
Yep.
And this was before I knew about Foundry 616 doing the hip hop jazz jams.
Because that's my
there
story.
in
But,
Ultimate.
you know, I got
Yeah, man.
my story about that shit.
That's it. So like it's like those two fundamental moments for me. It was going to the Foundry jams and it was playing at O Week at UNSW. And so our friend Varanya was like, she was like a yellow shirt, like a volunteer.
Yeah.
And so she was like, hey, we need an artist. And then Jen put my name up and she was like, oh, Ryan will do it. And this was around the time when I was making stuff on MySpace back in high school. And we'll get into that. This is where all the yarns will come out.
Yeah.
I'm spilling the beans right now, man. But brother, like I was so nervous because she put my name up and I was like, no, I can't do it. Like I've kind of like quit it. Like since HSC, I dropped all of that shit and I focused on trying to like just
dropped all that G shit. I'm not a gangster anymore, yo.
Shit. I'll tell you some more stories about that in a minute. This is great.
All right, let's go.
But yeah, man, like uni, I was more doing like drums.
Yep.
There was this opportunity to perform for O Week, and she kind of pretty much forced me to do it. I was there with a music stand. This is so lame, man. I had lyrics on the music stand.
Oh, hell
and
yeah.
I was like, what's up, everyone? My name is Dobby. It's like, everybody put your hands up. All right, here we go.
Shit.
Oh, it was bad. It was so good. But like, yeah, so that was my first instance of ever performing. And I was nervous as hell, but it was a great moment because I was able to jump into that space. And then the second time was with the Foundry Jams and being able to rap with like, you know, well, heaps of like our hip hop community who held it down there.
Is it Billy Green?
Billy Green. Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to Billy Green.
Shout out to Billy Green.
Man, he was a very unassuming character as well.
Yeah.
Just very, how would you say for Billy? Like, just unassuming as well.
Yeah.
Neck minute, just off the top, killing the raps down at Foundry 616.
And he always held down this like very consistent flow.
Yeah.
His face wouldn't show it, but he'd be able to like, you know, bring out this sort of vibrato and braggadocio. It's
So dope.
It's like it comes from here, you know.
100%,
yeah,
man.
he's dope.
Elo and I actually did a Foundry 616 gig.
Yeah, right.
I don't think I met you. I'll tell you where I met you.
L Fresh and you.
No, LOC and me.
LOC, yeah.
Yeah. So we did one actually, and that was really different for us because we were doing all the instrumental shows.
Yeah.
And then Randy wasn't involved in Foundry 616, was he? Esky?
Not too sure. Esky.
You wouldn't know?
No.
For some reason, Randy's name is clicking to me to be... Anyway, whatever. But anyway, it was a fucking dope gig. And it was
Yeah,
only
man.
3-piece
Hectic.
instruments.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, that's like... Because I knew about, like, a little bit about the jazz scene and just being in that community there. But seeing, like, jazz cats playing in a hip-hop space was really interesting. And every now and then there would be, like, a little bit of crossover where they go into, like, a 6/4 tune and everything would sort of modulate very weirdly. And all the rappers would be like...
Oh, where am I?
Like, what are you doing? Like, I don't write bars in 6/4. You expect me to rap to that shit? Bro.
Where does the rhyme end and begin?
Yeah,
I don't even
come
know.
on,
Where does my
yeah.
multi go?
Yeah.
Oh.
But that's where I met Innie, you know, like all of the crew there. It's great.
Man, like, it's funny you say that. Like, so, you know, because, you know, do you remember where we met? I'm pretty sure I've told this story to you before.
Yeah,
I'm going to
where
tell
did
it
we
again.
do it?
Okay, so it was at the Sly Fox. And it was one of those jazz nights. And I was actually out and about, and someone had said there's a freestyle competition down at Sly Fox, and it's like $100. And I'm thinking, fuck it. I'll just go down, kick a few rhymes, see what happens.
Yeah.
Anyway, so we walk in, and it's the Foundry like crew. Like,
yeah.
It's all the jazz guys. Larry rocked in. I think P. Smurf was there.
Hey,
a couple of other heads sort of, you know, just sort of creeping around. And I was there with a couple of mates, And bro, so randomly, you just rock up, and like for people that know, like you were the nicest motherfucker I've ever met in my life, right? Most polite, like just flat out. So you know, you came up to me and you were like, you came up to me and my mates and you were like, "Hey guys, how are you? What like what he's doing? You know, like what he's up to?" And I'm just like, "Hey man, you know." And, you know, like, I'm not one of those fucking, like, wallflowers. So I'm sort of like, yeah, man, just chilling down here. And you're like, true. So, like, you know, you guys going to, like, you know, get up and rap? And I was like, oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Are you?
Yeah.
And you were fully, bro, you were so keen and pumped, bro. You were just like, yeah, bro. It's like, you know, you're like, this is my spot. I fucking love it here.
I didn't say that.
Swear to God, man. I swear to God, it was the most. I had never. Well, more like you were like more alluding to like you like love the jazz shit and the improv shit. You're like, yo, this is my spot. I love coming down here, coming down, kicking it with the thing with the guys and stuff like that. And you know, like for the most part, let's be real. You know, there's a certain hesitancy with some hip hop artists, and you know, so like. I didn't know what to expect because you were like, yeah. I was like, you're gonna kick a rap? You were like, oh yeah. You're like, dude, 100%. I'll see you up on stage. I'm like, all right, cool. Anyway, fast forward, and you know, I get up and I kick my rap, and you know, crowd's like, yeah, and then like jump down. Next couple of MCs jump on, and you were there, and you fucking like smash that shit. You had all your flows were so crazy, and like it was speedy, but like your dexterity was like on point. And for me, so here's me going like, this guy, what the fuck? This is crazy. The nicest cunt is in the club is also the guy that is annihilating everyone on the stage. And then from then on, I was just like, I'm gonna add this motherfucker right now. I fucking got my phone out. I was like, Dobby, I'm fucking like following you on fucking Facebook and shit like that. That's it was so hilarious, bro. And then from then on, bro, like I remember I actually specifically remember making a considered effort after that to keep up to date with what you were doing.
Yeah, bro.
You know what I mean?
Man.
So yeah, bro. Like it was a crazy experience for me, man.
That's crazy, brother. Like it's just so great to. Yeah, I remember that like just being a part of those nights and hanging out, like getting to know you through these nights and through as well 4E. I guess we can talk about that as well a little later. But just being able to like get to know you and the fucking amazing artist that you are as well, and like you give me so much inspiration.
Oh, bro, come on, man.
100%. Like,
shit, here we go.
Yeah.
No, word. But it is. It's those nights though, man. And I really, shout out to the guys that were put on those nights because there was a lot of positive connectivity of artists. You know,
right.
And it was more about everyone getting up and having their fair go of like being able to rep what they do,
Yeah.
Which I did want to ask as well, just briefly, because because Jeff does our content, so I always go to Jeff and I send him shit, and I sent Jeff, some of your stuff, and he was like, "Yo, does this guy listen to heaps of Talib Kweli?"
Talib, yeah, man,
bro. So who's your influences? Because Jeff just heard like Talib straight away.
Talib Kweli, Lupe Fiasco,
word,
Kanye West, for sure, absolutely Kanye West. Farside was one of my biggest influences.
Yeah?
Yeah, Lab Cab in California and Bizarre Ride to the Far Side.
Word up. Classics.
Like Lauryn Hill. Janelle Monáe is a massive one for me as well.
True.
She's a huge influence for me. Missy Elliott.
A lot of these guys as well are quite identifiable as individuals musically.
Yeah, right. Yep.
Which makes a lot of sense.
Oh, and Mos Def, of course.
Oh,
like,
bro.
how could you go without saying Mos Def? Like, and that's another one. I didn't hear Black on Both Sides first. I heard The Ecstatic.
Oh,
The fucking.
bro.
I'm
You're in
choosing the
such a
most obscure album. Yeah,
it was yeah, it was the.
that's a great album.
100%.
Come on, man.
He's one of the ones that can actually hold down multiple albums.
Bro, you can't even get that on Spotify right now.
You got it.
He's removed it, I think. I don't know. It's just not
You'd
available.
be surprised about that's why I kept all my CDs. Is
Yeah.
because you'll be surprised how much shit actually doesn't, for whatever reason,
Yep.
falls through the licensing gaps or whatever.
Yep.
You know what I mean? You know a weird one I have is Gravediggers, 6
Ooh.
feet deep. You remember that? I mean, I'm not going to say. You don't remember that? Yeah.
Hey.
We'll talk about that one offline as well. That's a crazy album.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's the one where you can't listen to the one third or fourth album in because it ends up just being one Gravedigger
True.
when it was 4 to begin with.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
another one. Do you want to hear something that'll probably piss you off?
No, it's not going to piss me off, but go ahead, piss me off.
The first Nas album I heard was Hip Hop Is Dead. You took your headphones off of that. You were like,
Yo, I don't need to hear that shit. No, but like, here's the thing. Like, that could be that's good, honestly, but that could be the first one as long as it wasn't the last one.
Brah, man, for real.
Bro, that's it. But okay, it's actually such an intriguing pocket
Yeah.
because Lupe as well. To me, I feel like because he was very refreshing
Yeah.
for like listeners as well. So hearing Lupe, you know, come out, especially his first couple albums were hectic.
Yep.
You know, I want to take a little bit of a, not a turn, but sticking with, I suppose, the earliness. Damn, it's raining like a motherfucker in here.
This is raining hard.
can-
Yeah.
Can you hear?
Can they hear the rain?
But
Wow.
you can hear me. Okay, cool. Can you
That's
hear
great.
me though?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. All right, so
What? No.
say what? No, seriously. Say what? All right. Bro, one of the big I suppose one of the big things I give you, like I admire you for is also your cultural awareness.
Thank you, bro.
All right,
Yeah.
like sometimes I feel as though artists, I don't think necessarily purposefully, like, but I think sometimes it's hard to understand what your like the responsibility aspect of your voice is. You know what I mean? And
yeah.
so for you, you know, you're indigenous. You know, you've got philo heritage. You know, I suppose like in Australia, you know, and I say this to you know, a lot of people, even if they're not from here and they're a guest. You know, there is a lot of cultural ignorance here that I'm sure that, you know, you would have grown up in, especially if you're in Wollongong, bro.
Yeah, man. For
Right?
real. Yep.
So, I mean, you know, how did you navigate that growing up, and like how early, I suppose, were you aware of I don't know, like your cultural identity, and then also when did the responsibility sort of aspect start to kick in for you?
I feel like that's a great question. I'm still trying to figure, like I'm still trying to work towards, you know. Because when I was a kid, it was very different to what I'm doing now. Like obviously, I looked at, like, the stories that I connected to were stories that people didn't get in school. Like I was the only one listening to hip hop, and if there were other people listening to hip hop, it was like Hilltop Hoods, and of course, like, respect to them, obviously, like they're the cats, you know. But at the same time, no one really knew about you know, Nas or Jay-Z or Wu-Tang, or, you know, they didn't really understand that culture, and if it was ever talked about, it was talked about in a very, very superficial, tokenistic, and also, like, what's the word, racist sort of way, right?
Yeah.
So
Like from an ignorant sort of level.
from a place of ignorance. So like, I don't know. I'm constantly asking myself, what does it mean for us to be like delving into a beautiful, beautiful culture that was not made here? It was invented by incredible, you know, founders of the culture in Brooklyn in the early 70s, and for it to reach people like Monkey Muck in 81, and for him to start taking that to like his crew with Southwest Syndicate and all the other crew like Just Us, and then as we go on and on and on, and it's like beautiful like beginnings in West Sydney and that. Yeah. And so like, what does it mean for me to then be able to like not find out about that until much later? I didn't know much about The Last Connection, about Jimbla, about, you know, Young Warriors, about Street Warriors until like a little bit later. And like every now and then I'd hear some stuff and I'd be like, that's dope. But for the most part, it was like Lauryn Hill and it was like Eminem and shit. And so I'd be like, oh, that must be their thing.
Yeah.
And we don't have that. And then I realized more and more as I got older, oh, we definitely have a crew here. We definitely have a community that use hip hop in a way to express identity. And that became very clear when I was in high school, and I loved it. And I started like getting into hip hop way more, started rapping, trying to be like Apple Diap, trying to like, you know, I loved like, obviously like, you know, Local Knowledge and The Last Connection.
But
and it was like, you know, I want to express myself because I felt like I belonged to that.
Yeah.
Nowadays, I'm seeing something very exciting where it's like undeniably out there.
Yes.
You can't ignore Barker. You can't ignore
no,
Kobe D.
Yeah.
There's no way you could ignore Nookie.
No.
Like we are out here,
and
people are pushing, and you know, it's starting to get to a point where if you like anyone here or whatever, like, you know, was talking to someone in the States and they're like, what are you doing with hip hop in Australia?
Yep.
We're
busy.
Check out Barker. Like, listen to what we're doing. We're, you know, dreaming now.
Yep.
And his brother, you know, Dara, like, we're aboriginalizing it.
100%.
We are creating our own, just like J-pop, just like, you know what I mean? Like, this is our own shit.
Yep.
And it's so embedded into culture. I think it was like Joel Wenatong or someone who was saying like the 4 elements of hip hop work hand in hand with the 4 elements of aboriginality and indigeneity, right? You got MCing, you got breakdancing, you got DJing, you got street art, graffiti. And the same way, MCing, you've got you know, our oral teachings, our corroboree, our singing, song lines. Breakdancing is our dance, right? When we kick up dust to bring Biome's rains down so that we can take care of country. The DJing is our music. That's the clapsticks, that's the boomerangs, that's the possum skins, that's the singing of our voices, the didge, you know. And then of course the body paint, the ochre, the paintings we draw in the sand is our street art. That's our graffiti. And then for both cultures, the last element is knowledge. And those things tie it all together. Same way, our stories are the knowledge of the lands, the waterways, and the sky. Our history is dependent on continuing that knowledge, and hip-hop just happens to be the latest and, in my opinion, one of the most effective vehicles for, you know, maintaining and continuing that knowledge.
Yeah, man, 100%. Fuck, so well said, yo. And, like, it's like, it's an undeniable correlation, or, like, do you know what I mean? It really runs side by side, and I think that's why it's been so organically ingrained into one another. Do you know what I mean? You know, I can certainly see for yourself, you know, and even over the couple of years that I've known you, that certainly there's been growth in that. You know, I'm not going to say that there's certainly plenty before you, but I suppose that, you know, really the most current sort of version of like this voice and like bringing it up to date, and I want to sort of say, like, I'm not making it, giving it like an indigenous identity, like to the truest sort of form as well, because you're like really embracive of putting the stories, like, you know, and the history and everything into the actual music. Whereas sometimes, do you know what I mean? Like, because of, I suppose, the inability for maybe some of our indigenous to I don't know, gravitate towards Western cultures,
Yeah.
right? That have been brought in. You know, you've really been at the forefront of making sure that like you're really mindful of, you know, sticking to performance and sticking to the entertainment, but also really ingraining the knowledge and the, you know, the integrity of the history into it. Do you know what I mean? Like, is that something that you've sort of, I don't want to say like woke up one day and be like, yo, like tomorrow it's going to be a thing. But I've certainly seen like a gradual like, you know, development into you coming into your own with it being maybe, you know, more of a musical identity as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It's, oh man. And that's where I have to like really acknowledge my privilege, because the amount, like the series of events that have happened to lead me to here have been so, like, each and everything has kind of fallen in line with music on one hand and culture on the other. It's like tied in so well. Like my work, my job is my music and my music is my job. And I'm so blessed to be able to say that, because, you know, it's a great opportunity and it doesn't come very often, but I'm very lucky, you know. When I was able to perform in Brewarrina, you know, time like for the past like 5 years, under the mentorship and guidance of Auntie Lily Shearer, who runs the festival there. It's called Bayami's Nunu Festival. I'm there as an artist working, but I'm also connecting to my country and my community. And that's a beautiful thing. And it's always been like that. I mean, like you look at, you know, what we call art, you know, what Western folks call art, and that's culture. Like that's life. You know, those are, it's like song lines are not just songs that you can sell for $1.69. Stream
like, well,
on. I'm like,
on
wait,
cheap.
I'm like a generation behind.
Yeah, bro, you're getting like 0.003 cents.
Can you imagine if I was like, you know, music is not just vinyls and and your wax cylinder.
8-track.
Yeah, but no, but like, you know, it's song lines are part of your upbringing, and you know, I feel like it's my responsibility and my obligation to, like my cultural obligation to really try to find ways back to that, you know. And it's been like I've slowly realized it more and more, just seeing all the hardworking mob around me, and I'm like, oh, I understand why that. Oh, I get that.
Yep.
Oh, I understand what I need to do.
Yep.
Because I see what everyone's doing, my family, my community. I'm like, oh shit, like I really need to take a shot at this, and music is the way for me to do it personally.
Yeah. 100%, bro.
Yeah.
So dope to hear as well, and you can really tell that you do, you know, because like you know, another thing about you, you're certainly like one of the most humble dudes I know as well. So like, it makes sense that you really draw on, you know, the inspiration of seeing others work in their spaces and, you know, instilling it into yourselves, man.
Yeah.
So massive props to you, bro.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
You know, also then, for yourself, you know, you've really found a voice, I think, as an activist as well, you know, for indigenous, and specifically, I feel like really that's driven in the last, you know, I don't want to say like it, you know, it's been really strong the last couple of years.
Yeah, it's been, I don't know if I want to call myself, I don't know if I mean, look, me personally, I don't call myself an activist.
Yep.
Because I do the work in music, but I don't, you know, I can't overshadow the real activists who do the work. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, 100%.
I can only do, not that I can only do so much, but I only do so much as per, like, in my music, I will, you know, amplify the voices around me in that way.
Yep.
I don't know if I'm able to call myself an activist because I don't organize the marches or you know, lead the rallies in that way. So I humbly kind of sit in that role as a musician and know, trying to take on everything, you know, what I can do within that role.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, straight up.
Yep. Yeah.
It's interesting to hear that perspective, because I suppose that, you know, looking from the outside, you know, I just see you very present and and man, ramping up your responsibility in the artist realm, exactly what you say. I'd never see you overstep your mark necessarily, absolutely, but certainly still chipping in your responsibility of being present, being there, using your voice within your craft in those spaces too. You know what
definitely. I mean, it's important, and I think that's what people want, especially after like, last year was like was what it was, and so like we were like. It's like
certainly
some big shit happened, but I feel like people really want the truth now, and a lot of people have been saying, yes, of course, we've wanted to be able to fight that for so long and have people realize that. But again, undeniably, we need to talk about it, and so I feel like more and more you see it in music. That's one of the sort of avenues where people can sort of speak their truth and amplify and promote truths, and like, for example, like, Barker and our song I Can't Breathe is just like, it's a documentation. That's straight not up. Us being like, we got to talk about this. Like, it's not us saying like, we want to be political today. Every day we're political. Every day we're seen as political bodies. We just went, hey, that's not right. And we put out a song about that, A
powerful song about that.
Thank you, bro. Yeah, appreciate it.
And shout out to Buck again, man. Like, big love to her as well. Putting, finding her voice, because that's been so strong on a number of levels as well. And we were blessed to have Barker here. Last year as well. So
shout out to Barker. Which camera do I look at?
Yeah. Any one of them, they'll switch it to you.
This one.
That one. Yep. Off that a little bit, and I think I'll come back to it a little bit in another way, because I do want to talk about it a little bit more. But I do want to talk about your first, I suppose, like a little bit of a scene break. Because after I met you, I think is it Peregrine?
Yeah. Yep.
I think it was like, I met you and I look back at it, one or two things, and then that was like then when you sort of started to go forward. Do you feel as though that was probably one of the ones that sort of made a little bit of a wave for you in the local scene? Or what do you think is the one that sort of you started to click up a little tiny bit more views?
I feel like it was Peregrine.
Yeah.
And I still like I'm proud of it for sure, but I definitely feel like, certainly now I feel like I've evolved since that. I mean, we all feel that as artists. We're like, that's my old stuff. I don't want to. But I think Peregrine was like definitely like a feeling my way through it. You know what I mean? Like I'm like trying to figure out like how to use Apple loops and like trying to figure out that shit, and then realizing like, my mix engineer can make this sound good. Who would have thought? And then because like.
So that's what they do.
That's literally the conversation I had with Tom Garnett, because at the time I was like only seeing myself as a rapper. So many instances of this where you think you can only be so good and then you find out you can be better. What? That's truth. Like same with composition. But like with this, I was like, I'm only a rapper. I can't make beats. And he said, I do like 80% of the work, right? All you do is just send me some like MIDI things and like I'll add the reverb and I'll compress it and I'll do all of this shit. And so he did. And I was like, wow, this is actually really cool. And so now I feel like once I've done that EP, which was good for what it was, but now I'm really into it. Like the next shit is like, it feels more like me,
Yeah, but on every level.
On every level,
Yeah. Straight up. No, 100%, man.
So, yeah.
Evolving out of that, and then, and again, like, massive shout out to Vivian, but...
shout out to Viv.
Yeah, shout out to Viv.
Shout out to Viv.
Fucking love Viv, bro.
Man, if it wasn't for Viv, I wouldn't even be here.
Straight up. She's on holiday.
She's on break.
She's probably watching.
She's probably
This is technically considered work, Viv. So can you fuck off? No jokes. So man, massive shouts to Viv, man. But talk to me about maybe starting to evolve a little bit. And I know with Viv, it's always organic with Viv. Nothing's ever forced. Everything's always a pleasure. I know that's certainly my personal experience with her. I never. And she's so selfless. But tell me about evolving as an artist, and then I don't know, building a relationship with someone like Viv who has helped you in amazing ways and
Yeah,
developing
man.
that.
So so the story with Viv is like,
I love stories.
you're like, yes,
Yeah, come on.
story time.
Yeah.
A mad rapper by the name of Banjo. Shout out to our buddy Banjo. He hit me up and was like, "Hey, there is a festival happening in Bankstown. It's called 4E Sydney."
Man, shouts to 4E.
Yeah, and he was like, "You should hit up Viv. She's the organizer." I was like, "Oh, cool, oh, cool." And he gave me the email, and I was like, "Hey, Viv, it's Ryan here. I'd love to perform for your festival. That'd be dope." And she was like, "Hi, Ryan. Thanks for your email. Please send a high-res press photo and your latest track. Thanks." And I was like, "High-res press photo? I don't fucking have one of those. What do you mean high-res? How do you high up the res?" Like,
Yeah.
so I had to figure out that shit. And I
Google
put it together.
high-res photo meaning.
I was like, "Siri, what is a high-res photo?"
Yeah.
So I sent it to her. I actually, through that, I was able to play the song. I played a set for the festival. And we kind of kept in touch after that. I think she actually booked me off of a track I did called Queen's Speech Remix. Like, it's the remix of Lady Leisha's Queen's Speech. So I think she booked me off of that track. We kept in touch, and then Big Sound was coming up, Big Sound 2017, and she emailed me at one point, I thought, or something like that, and she was like, blah, 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 you should apply for Big Sound. And I remember thinking, oh, cool, yeah, whatever, and I didn't. And then I met her again at the Redfern Community Center doing a gig there. She happened to be there. She said, "Hey, Ryan, did you apply for Big Sound?"
Yep.
And I said, "Oh, nah, still not yet.
I'm lazy.
Got a bit of
I'm
stuff to do today."
Yeah.
She was like,
got a bit of stuff to do today, Oh, what's that, Ryan?
like,
Nothing much.
just video games.
Yeah. NBA 2K.
Yeah, bro. And so she was like, "Go home and apply for Big Sound." And I was like, "Oh, but I still have my bag over there." She was like, "Go home." I was like, "Oh, okay."
Oh shit.
I
Yeah.
was like, "I need to grab my stuff."
Oh yeah. Fuck your stuff.
yeah. My food's getting cold. Can I grab my sandwich? I just need. And I got in.
Word.
And so and I told her, she was the first person I told. I was like, "Yo, like, I got in, like, thank you. I didn't think I would do it." And she said, "Listen, I'm going up anyway. Would you we just talked about it, and I think maybe I brought it up, but I was like, would you be able to sort of could we go in together and maybe you represent me or help me out with thing?"
Yep.
And she did. It's like all these things. She just sees it in you, and she helps you out. And then after that whole week at Big Sound Festival, it's really cute. We were at this was it like a Chinese restaurant or Korean barbecue, sorry. And we were finishing up the whole trip, and it was great. Met heaps of people, blah blah blah. And I was like, "Hey Viv, this week's been so great. I was wondering." I was wondering if would you represent me?
Yeah, it would.
And she was like, "Yeah, for sure." And she said, "If you asked a month ago, I would have said no."
Yep.
But because of that experience, that natural, like you're saying, she doesn't ever force it. She feels it through. Same with, all the people she has ever worked with. She always looks for that feeling of can I connect with this person?
Yep.
Can I see good things happening with these people? And is it going to be a waste of my time or not? I think that's.
But I mean, it's true because
Yeah.
if it's a waste of her time, it's going to be a waste of whoever else's time.
Yeah.
So it's got to be real.
Yeah, and that's on the negative, but on the positive, she's looking to build. She's always looking to build, and it's incredible how much she's constantly thinking about, oh, let's connect them with them, and how would I make this happen? And she's always strategizing.
Oh, yeah, without doubt. And it is organic, but you can tell through the integrity of the work as well. Do you know what I mean? And
yeah.
so it's hell dope. So then what did she really, I suppose, help you with as well, to add to your already hectic skill set? Did she really just develop the business sort of ties, or was she there artistically to guide you as well and maybe give some 2 cents?
Definitely both.
Shout out to Diola as well.
Shout
man.
out
Gotta
to
get,
Diola. Come on. Shout out to Diola.
Come on, man. Gotta give you a shout too, bro.
And
Your whole
actually,
crew.
wait, just on that. Yeah, shout out to my whole crew.
Hell yeah.
I know Viv's probably watching with Anya and Luca right now, so shout
Yeah.
out to them. You know, like I'm very blessed to have like beautiful family around me. You know, shout out to Lee Monroe.
Oh, yeah,
Come on,
yeah,
bro.
the boys. No, it's all good. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
like, okay, let's talk about Diola. Okay.
Oh, okay, let's talk about Diola,
Okay,
yeah.
so I met her through Randy, and shout out to Randy.
Randy.
Okay. Randy is like.
Say swear.
Yeah. Like these people, you know, in my life have like just amazing people, and so like he was like, I want you to meet this DJ. I think would be great for you. And it, you know, sure enough, like we just like really connected so well.
Yep.
You know, and she's Filipino, and so we've like connected like that, you know, through food.
Yeah, the music, nah, the food.
The most important thing.
Yep.
Ginataan. Pork, chicken adobo. I'm looking
Pancit.
at Esky right now. Pancit.
Pancit.
Yeah. And so, like, yeah, we just, like, and, like, Diola is just, like, this hectic multi-instrumentalist. More people need to have eyes on, like, all the shit that she can do. Incredible pianist, drummer, rapper, tap dancer, you know.
Oh, whoa, yeah.
Yeah,
That's a bit left field,
you know,
but yeah,
she can
okay.
figure skate.
I'll
She-
hold her to that.
And then she can DJ. She's incredible.
And she can cut it up.
She can scratch. She's,
Up.
you know, one of the only handful of female vinyl turntablists we have
Yeah,
in Sydney. She's
straight up.
Incredible.
Two incredible people on the stage every time. You know what I'm saying? So did Viv, back to the Viv sort of element, was Viv there for you to guide you artistically, or she sort of let you take a lot of the reins on that and then more helped you out with the business side?
I think Viv gave incredible insight into how it will be consumed.
Word.
And how it is seen when it is released.
Okay.
So not necessarily artistically in that regard, like a musician collaboration sort of feedback way,
Yeah.
but more like a listener's perspective. She knows exactly like, you know, the drops and you know, how to sort of optimize that impact of I'm dropping that's how we dropped the EP, was because she said we're going to strategize it in the way that it releases on the day you perform at Big South. So she made that sort of like lined it up so that on the day we could be like, well, like
EP
in the
drop
lead up,
day.
come to my showcase. By the way, I'm dropping it that day. So that we can talk about like those types of things, and just knowing
That's
about
real
like,
bars.
yeah, just real bars, and like just like knowing like logistically how things would be best. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, word
So-
up. That's a lot of stuff that artists aren't like. I mean, you're
Yeah.
so engrossed in creating that sometimes you can.
100%.
Well, a lot of the time you can lose that element of timing and.
We have this long running joke where I'm essentially before Viv I was like a SoundCloud rapper, which is fine. That's so fine.
Shout out to all the SoundCloud rappers.
Shout out to the SoundCloud rappers,
I feel like RJ could be a SoundCloud rapper.
bro.
He's probably got a SoundCloud channel.
You've got a private SoundCloud right now. Yeah, bro. Like, so I come from that culture of like, hey guys, check out my 35-track album. Listen to it right now at 2 a.m, and I get 4 likes. And I'm like, yeah, and then I'll message the 4 people that liked it and be like, what'd you think?
What'd you think, bro?
What'd you think?
I liked it 3 minutes ago. It's
Collab?
a 35-track album.
Yeah, collab? Yeah. I like message him 3 minutes in. What'd you think?
What'd you think? I haven't even heard the first track yet, but
Yeah, but like, and
Sure,
then
it's
so
cool.
like Viv was like, it can't be like that. Like we need to talk about release strategies and like spread shit out months apart, you know. And that's still something I get it now. It took a while to like really understand and comprehend.
yeah.
Because, but you know, like it was a silver lining because I realized like, oh shit, my projects need more time anyway. Like
Yeah.
there's this one project I'm about to put out like this year called Waranga River Story, and that's about Brewarrena's rivers, and we'll talk about that. But like that particular thing, if I dropped it last year, would have been not as strong
impactful.
and impactful as
Yep.
it feels like it could be now.
It's dope, man. And I suppose it goes lends to the importance of perspective. Do you know what I mean? From those external people that are in the music, but maybe not necessarily the artists. You know what I mean? Man, taking it to the States.
Yeah.
Tell me about that, bro. You went to the States, and you ripped up a few shows over there. Wait, you went to Europe as well? No?
Yeah.
I remember now. I'm getting flashbacks of fucking updates where you were. Shit. I was like, damn, this motherfucker, you really everywhere. Wow.
Bro, man.
I want to talk about the States though, maybe a little bit specifically, because the thing is there's not heaps of Australian MCs that have crazily performed in the States. Do you know what I mean? Or held it down in front of a American audience, which is I suppose a little bit for us, because we're young as far as hip hop goes. It's a little bit daunting to stand in front of Americans and hold it down.
It was
as
very,
an Australian MC.
It was very.
So how was that for you, man? And was that a pivotal, I suppose, in as far as you sort of thinking wow, man, I'm starting to really elevate my imprint.
Yeah, in America, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah, 100%. Because you're going back to the motherland of hip hop, and even though I wasn't in Brooklyn, New Orleans is very sort of. They're heavy in their culture of jazz and of course hip hop there as well. So I was very nervous. The reason I was there was part of the Indigenous Music Summit, which was connected to the Folk Alliance. So it was weird for me to be there anyway, because I was in terms of folk music, not in terms of the Indigenous music stuff. That makes sense, but folk music, I was like, how am I here? Everyone's got banjos and stomp boxes, and I'm rapping. Yeah. It was great, but the thing is, I loved it because you need to feel that that weight and that competition back there. It's like Viv says to me all the time, when you go to New York, or if you go to New York, you'll see hip hop in a different way. It's got weight to it, it's got a heavy implications
substance,
of it's got substance to it. We're kind of, I don't know, how do you feel about the fact that we kind of take it and we do amazing stuff here, but we don't have that culture.
Well, that's the biggest, that's the reason why I sort of asked the question, is because I've been to the States and I've performed there and I've had to hold it down. I've been in studios.
I want to ask you about that. Can I ask you questions?
You sort of can. I suppose you can. But yeah, it is. That's why I asked the question, is because, I remember being over there and, white and Australian, and, you feel like you said, the weight and the authenticity of the culture. That's the biggest sticking thing that I always say. Do you know what I mean? And you got to see it to really understand it, and feel it to understand it. When you stand in a room of, people that have not only seen this grow from the ground up, but also then grow into something that's so commercially ingrained now, and now dictates commercial success and commercial viability for products or people, so over there, when you say to someone, over here, someone goes what do you do? You go, I rap, I'm an MC. People here, I laugh about this all the time. People here will go, oh yeah, wiki, and you're like, no, dickhead, that's a DJ, right?
That's what they say. They go, oh yeah, wiki.
Yeah, but and they don't get it. It's so
it's hilarious. I got yarns for that. I'll tell you in a minute.
Well, yeah. Okay, so there you go, right? So, but then you go over there, and you could literally meet a grandma and say, "Oh, I'm an MC," and that grandma will be like, "We'll kick a 16."
Yeah, I was gonna say she'll rap,
or she'll be like freestyle. You know, it's generational there. Here, it's I feel like we're kicking it off.
Generation. That's man. That's exactly right. We, in 2 out of the 5 Ubers that we must have taken throughout our trip in New Orleans, they were rapping in the front. the driver was like singing along to Slick Rick.
Yep.
And I was in the front, and I was like, "Once upon a time, not long ago." It was hilarious. It was like a music video. We were the driver and the passenger were like, "Once upon a time, long ago." And Viv's in the back like, "And lived life slow. There was a little man."
Oh shit, we're living a life.
You know, so we were like, I mean, she's not like she's used to it. I wasn't used to it because I was like, "Wow, they feel hip hop in a very generational way."
Yep.
And of course, we don't get that. Well, not like we, but like collectively. I just came back from Canberra for the Canberra International Music Festival, which I was so happy to be a part of. Definitely grateful because Roland Peelman, who booked me, you know, he's an incredible classical musician and very, very like highly respected in the field, saw potential for a hip hop act to be a part of it, right?
Fuck.
And so
That's
like,
so dope.
which is so dope. But like, I definitely got a lot of funny comments. Like a couple of people were like, "Oh, you're like a fringe act." Or something like that, like, because I'm more of conservative, like, where, like, I guess you're, like, sort of more of a fringe act. And another person said to me, it was like, "Oh, this is the wrong crowd for you. Like, this is the wrong crowd."
Then you go in there and tear that bitch up. And
I teared that shit up.
it's like,
And he came back, he was like, "No."
yeah. And you'd be like, "Yeah, but, no, I'm still cool. I'm Dobby."
Yeah. I remember this one person, oh, now I'm just, like, spilling the bit. I knew this was going to happen. I'm going to get in trouble. No, there was this person, because I was talking about some interview the next day, it was, you know, and they usually have classical musicians, and this person was like, "Oh, are you like a surprise act?" And I was like, "I guess I must be, because everyone I say it to seems very surprised." I was like,
Yeah.
and Diola's like, oh, it's like, no.
Yeah, Diola's like, shut the fuck up.
Shut up, bro.
She would have appreciated that, though.
Yeah, I mean, I found it funny.
I'm sure she would have, but maybe not in the same way that you did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But that's sick, man.
Yeah.
And it's good. It's good. And you know, did it hold a bit of weight then for you to come back and be like, "Yo, like I've seen it," and then did that give you any motivation to maybe step your game up?
Yes.
Yep.
100%. 100%. And I'm still finding out in what ways that it kind of comes about, you know. My trips overseas have been like that Europe trip it changed my life.
Word.
And knowing what hip hop means to people in France and seeing it in England,
Yep.
I was like, "Oh shit, like it is its own thing."
Yeah.
Paris, they do it their own way. They don't really necessarily, I mean, I could like, you know, I'm generalizing here,
Yep.
but trap is very much like
Really?
the way to go, and they're heavily into their fashion, you know, and so hip hop like means something in a slightly different way, I guess. And I don't know exactly how, because I'm not from Paris, like I'm not from France, so I don't really know exactly how to describe it. That's just how I felt.
But you could feel it.
Feel it, you know? And of course America is very different. So like I'm just like seeing it in different places. I'm like, "Oh shit," like then you see what you lack, but also what we do really well.
Yeah, true that.
You know?
Which is a crazy perspective because not everyone gets that opportunity.
We have something very special going on. And again, I can't put it into words, but we are in the midst of a very exciting and I think going to be an undeniable, unstoppable wave of hip hop, particularly indigenous, like First Nations hip hop, you know, that bring about stories that you could before people would sweep under the rug.
Bro, straight up.
You can't ignore Ziggy Ramo, you know? There's
Right.
no way.
I saw you see that JK47 changes? Did you see that
Yeah,
changes?
man. Yeah,
Did
I
you
like a version.
Fuck.
He killed it. Do you see
Like
Dallas Woods one?
Smashed. Yeah.
Yeah, bro.
Yo. These faces. Oh. Whew. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Crazy, man.
Yeah.
No, man, so dope, and you can really tell, you know, the way you ramp it up, and again, it's fucking beautiful thing to watch because it's all organic. Speaking of traveling again, and then you in Australia, and you know your music taking you, you know, giving you opportunity to be in you know, indigenous communities as well. And you keep using that word amplify, and I suppose it's amplifying your opportunities to be in those spaces too. You know, how has it really helped you, you know, put yourself in those spaces for, you know, for culture's sake and you know, your identity's sake, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I particularly with this project, Waranga River Story, it's probably a good time to actually talk about that, because it works. Yeah, it directly speaks to that question. This project in particular has helped me really understand the significance of our waterways, the Murray-Darling Basin, and also what's happened to it in the past. Well, I mean, the past how many years since the Murray-Darling Basin plan has been put into place, because we are irrigating it at a criminal rate, you know. 2019.
I mean, it's not spoken about enough. I mean,
no, that's right.
Even me, I go, yeah, I know about that, but I don't know about that.
Right. Well,
you know
yeah, but that's
you know what I mean. I know on a very, very shallow surface level.
Yeah, and that's the thing. That's when we got to ask ourselves, okay, first of all, what's happening, and to know about it. The second is people, and I hope this happens, that people learn about it through this project, which is a hip hop project, which is dope that you can find that as a source of reference to be able to I got to look into this. I got to
learn about some shit.
I got to learn about some shit
album.
from a hip hop album. Yep. And then 3 is how can we enact change and enforce policy changes through a medium like hip hop, right? Because in this project, I've got people like Uncle Bruce Shillingsworth, who is a staunch Murruwarri Budjiti water warrior, water activist. He was on Q&A talking on ABC about First Nations rights to water. How could you have a panel about our water rights and not have an indigenous person on the panel? Do you know what I mean? That sort of shit.
Basic, but people wouldn't know about it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's we need to. This is a great opportunity for hip hop to be able to step in as change. Did you know that this is what's happening? The project is about 3 rivers: the Barwon River from the east to the west, the Colgo River to the north, and the Bergen River to the south. And those 3 rivers intersect within 1 kilometer of each other.
Yeah.
The Barwon River they call Wawango in Brewarrina. That's Nambar language. That's Nambar country.
Yeah.
To the north in Wilmaringal, that's Murruwarri country. They call that Nyando.
Yeah.
Right? So the Colgo is Nyando. That's where my great-grandfather was born. And then to the south is the Bokari. And so those 3 rivers all have different stories that intersect, right? What white people call the Rainbow Serpent. Everyone's heard of the Rainbow Serpent. They call it Wawe in Brewarrina. That's Wawe. And up north it's the Mundagara. Different languages, but it's the same fella. Yeah. It's the same creature. And that creature changes his name as he goes down that river, depending on the language territory. And so now we're talking about language as knowledge of the land, you know? So that's what the story of this project is. And it's a combination of classical, I guess, and hip-hop. And field recordings, you know, Uncle Bruce Shillingsworth, Brad Stedman, Lily Shearer, my cousin, Arnie Joe, all these people who were talking about the rivers. It's not my story. It's not just my story. It's our community's story.
Yeah. And you're just the voice.
Yeah,
or to help, one of the voices to help.
Yeah. So that's kind of the... Anyway, yeah, so that's the project.
Fuck, so dope though, man. And I mean, it's crazy as well to... Again, I suppose it blends back to what you were saying before, you know, not calling yourself an activist, but using your responsibility for your voice to, you know, essentially represent those spaces. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And fuck, bro, it's fucking inspiring to see you so ingrained and knowledgeable, man. And in such a humble and fucking cool way. Do you know what I mean? I say it you know, not to sound, you know, stupid or ignorant, but sometimes, you know when sometimes, you know, knowledge can come forced and knowledge can come organically. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's always organic that really, I feel sometimes really that's the stuff that's really impactful.
Totally.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
And you and the way that you carry it, bro, is fucking so insightful and
Thank you,
interesting, man. So
it means a lot to me. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm fucking pumped for it. To be honest with you. So that's hectic, and I'm so glad that the craft has been able to put you in these amazing spaces, bro, with the land and with the people. You know?
Yeah.
So hectic.
Yeah.
Talk about COVID for you. I wanted to know, you were actually pretty active. I know that we, crossed paths a couple of times during, lockdown and stuff last year. We had a few weird online streams together.
I
where
remember
we had to,
that. I still got a photo of you sitting in that chair, actually.
That was a dope photo. I'll post that on
It's a dope photo,
on my Instagram.
I sent that to you, right?
Yeah. But we had to talk and then Viv came in and kicked our ass because we weren't supposed to be with. Mira was there as well.
It's not just our fault.
Social distancing was fucking out the window that night. You know what I mean? But if the government asks, it was like all above board.
It was above board.
Yeah. If anyone asks, all right. But how did it work for you? And how did you utilize that time to be proactive and?
Man. I can't believe I don't know. I shouldn't be so surprised. We went through that. Can you believe we went through that?
I'm still...
The world, like...
Well, even to this day, I see remnants of how we function, and I'm just like, yo, it's fucking bullshit.
Yeah, totally. For 2 months, I didn't do anything. Two full months, I was just like, I needed...
Thinking it was getting back...
I needed that time to figure out... Well, it was... That's what I mean, though. Like, it was unsettling and, like, uncertainty.
Yeah.
Like, I just didn't know, like... we going back to work? Like, are things really truly cancelled? Are we going to get back to it? How many times do I have to have this conversation with my housemates about should we have coffee right now or should we just crack open another beer? It was like that midway, at midday where you're like, I think it's time to get out the drink. How bad is it?
Yeah, bro. Trust me. I mean, you're speaking to the right person about that. But you get to be like, yo, it's midday and I'm already thinking about it.
Yeah.
Am I that fucking bored?
Bro, yeah. But it was nothing for 2 months, and then I had to figure out what. It was a lot of journaling, a lot of walking. That was my shit. It was journaling and walking. I had to get out, and then eventually I was like, I think I figured out the instrumental that clings to me. And then I started writing to that, and it's a really nice lo-fi beat. He's actually, he's a very you see him all on the lo-fi playlist on Spotify, WYS, and I just found him. It's so, man, dude, shout out to WYS. He's got 2 million monthly listeners on Spotify because people love lo-fi.
Yeah.
But his Instagram followership is it's fine as well, of course, but it's 500, 400 people. And I'm something weird is happening right now. I feel exploitation to the max right now. I don't know. I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, straight up.
You heard it here first.
Don't you giving out the secrets?
Yeah.
During that time though, obviously a lot was going on, and I Can't Breathe came about.
Yep.
Speak to me about that process a little bit, I suppose, because I actually remember speaking to Viv at that time, and one thing I love about Viv is, she's super supportive of your creativity and your spontaneity, I suppose, of feeling that you had to say something at that time. But what was obviously so hectic as well is, you got Barker on it, who at that time was sort of spiking, but was still making her impact. You know what I mean? Starting to.
Yes.
So how did that collab come about? And I suppose how'd you piece it together? Did you sort of have a bit of a vision for it? And did COVID free up the right amount of time for you to put the right amount of effort into it?
There was a particular Australian reporter who was interviewing these protesters in LA during Black Lives Matter, and she asked these questions that were so just ignorant and condescending as well. Like, why
Yeah.
are you rioting? Why are you looting? Like this, like white Australian reporter is asking all these black Americans, like, why are
I
they,
think I
and
remember
also
that.
white Americans, like, why are you rioting? Why are you doing blah, 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 blah? And it was just like they understood what was going on. They were dealing with a very ignorant person. And right at the end, she goes, "Oh, thanks for letting me know. Thanks for telling me this because, we don't have the history of police killings in Australia." And you just look at that screen and you feel so helpless because you're like, fuck, I can't go to LA and tell them, like, I am so sorry. She is absolutely wrong. We
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And we're fully aware of it. We understand what black deaths in custody means when we talk about black deaths in custody. And I just had this like immense frustration that like went right down me,
Straight through
right
you,
through me,
yup.
and I was like, fuck, like someone needs to say something. And I started like making these beats around that time as well. And I had one in particular, and I started thinking about how it could be used in that way, just to vent, And I hit up Chloe, and I was like, sis, like Barker, sorry, and I was like, sis, like, do you want to write something with me here, do something on this track?
She would have been, oh fuck yeah.
Yeah, man. She fucking wrote the track in like she wrote the lyrics in like
She's
one
like,
day.
I'm already done.
She was like,
Gets
"Here,
off the
my
phone.
brother. Here's,"
Oh,
and the way she does too. She's like, "Lyrics are done, my brother."
yeah. Word up.
She's like, yeah. She's great, man. She's incredible.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, so we put the track together, and of course, like Tom Garnett, shout out to Tom Garnett at 301 Studios, because he said, "Hey man, I know it's like a really, really tough time for you and All Mob. Like, if you have any protest songs that you're working on, come to me and I'll work on them for free." And I was like, it's funny you say that.
Speaking of which,
here's one I prepared
created
earlier.
earlier.
And I open up the oven and I get my mitts on and I put it on the windowsill. And he goes,
fuck, bro. I'm getting exactly the same visual. Yeah.
And
That's
his
so
chef's
dope,
hat
man.
has a 301 Studios logo on the front. You can see it.
Yeah, I see it. 100%. But that's dope, man. So dope that you had that support as well. And I mean, yeah, I don't blame you for the frustration as well, because I mean, yeah, bro, even I've just been in the years I've been blown away by the statistics. I mean, we were one of the highest per capita fucking countries in the world, which is insane. And it's that sort of statistic that you said before, shit gets swept under the rug. It's a massive one, yo.
That's right. I mean, you think about, people know about George Floyd, and we're able to quickly point the finger at George Floyd, but how can we not know about David Dungay Jr., Tanya Day, Miss Du, Kumanjayi Walker, Elijah Doherty, Wayne Fella Morrison? The list goes on and on and on. And you multiply someone dying under police custody and multiply that by whatever number we're up to, 450?
Yeah.
Since 1991. That's not even that long ago. That's really not that long ago. And that's like, a little bit over how long I've been alive, that's how many people have died under people who are supposed to serve and protect and sort of take care of their community.
Yeah, straight
How
up.
does that happen under, it's crazy. And like, what's crazy is like when that song came out, and I knew it was going to reach people who definitely disagreed, because there are people like that who definitely disagree. And they were like, da-da-da-da-da, like David Dungay was a murderer, da-da-da-da-da, all of this shit. And then you just have to be like, did the cops... Like, I saw you doing a lot of the groundwork on social media, and I almost felt really bad for you, because I was like, man, you put in so much work, like, arguing back against people who were, like, not worth your time. Do you know what I mean? Like,
I guess...
You worked your ass off to, like...
Well, it's more about perspective, right? Like,
yeah.
I suppose that's the only contribution I can give without, I suppose similar to what you say, without, there's only so much being, white, and, not like that. It's more about, I suppose, trying to understand the perspective of like, take yourself out of your own shoes for a minute.
Right, yeah, totally.
Is essentially, that was, I felt, my responsibility. But
That's
man,
amazing, man.
there was a lot of work to be done, and I suppose it was like, fuck, man, we needed more like advocates of every pocket to step up and
totally. And but mad love and respects to you for for doing that and holding it down for us and like standing with us, and because that I saw that and it meant a lot to myself, and I'm sure like plenty, like all of us,
Oh, bro,
it's
big up, bro,
incredible.
like, that's crazy. Because sometimes you just do it. I'm not even. I don't even know. You don't think people are watching because you're just in there with all
Hey,
the
you gotta
dickheads.
you gotta imagine me in my boxer shorts
I'd be like,
eating popcorn.
fuck yeah, Lee, sick.
Yeah.
Shit.
That was me.
And I'm in there like, yeah, fucking this guy, that guy. No, yeah, it's
like
pretty
I was
ruthless
reading
online,
your
bro.
comments. You were like, "Well, as a matter of fact," I was like, "You get him, Lee. Fucking show him his boss."
How funny is that? But yeah, man. No, it's good, man. Well, and it's good. You know what? I will say for the negativity that it did have, I feel as though it did certainly bring a certain camaraderie, for the communities that were actively together on it. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
That now will last and continue to grow and strengthen, right?
100%. Well, now we know. I know where people stand. A lot of us,
Well, that's
and
another
it's
thing.
like, hey,
Puts the light on it.
like I see you there. Like I know, exactly what You didn't. You post that black square, but what did you do right after that? Oh, okay.
Ooh.
I see you. No. You're like, oh shit, I gotta delete that square.
No, but actually, I was sensitive to a lot of that shit as well, which you
Yeah,
got to be,
man.
man. You really got to read the let it simmer and read the reactions. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man.
So that's hectic, man. I think it made a massive impact, and I'm really, it's really inspiring to see that track carries weight still and continues to make waves, even in the current climate. Like, I'm so glad that stance and voice that you guys used at that time, because that's one of the problems, right? With a lot of these situations, they're like hot topics,
Yeah.
and then the agenda. I'd like to say, we'll turn around and be like, look at this flashy, shiny object over here for a second, and then it takes the wind out of the sails sometimes of that light that you're glaring on the issue.
Well, it's like that. I mean, what you say that, and it reminded me of something that happened quite recently. Like that track, "I Can't Breathe," and shout out to my cousin Jessica Williams for doing this. She made these learning resources out of that track and music video. Right? So she took the lyrics and the music video and she's made like these resources for year 9, year 10 students. And that has been now adopted into a thing called Racism No Way. And they've taken it and they're distributing it. I think this is how it works. To schools across New South Wales. Dope. That's mad. How many times we've said as kids, like even when I was a kid, we don't learn about our own history. We don't learn about Aboriginal history other than like Charlie Perkins, and that's kind of it, if at all. But now we're able to look at like modern navigations and responses and instances of resistance to colonial powers put in place through hip hop. Like that's dope. And then you've got like anyway, there was an article on it by the Daily Telegraph and news.com.au, and they were pretty much saying like, there are deeply triggering, activities that are put in place for school students. They have to be made, they feel guilty now that they're white because of these programs. And there's like a board game on white privilege to explain, racial difference and like power injustice. And anyway, there was this one woman, what was her name? Bella D'Abrera, I think it was. She's like the director of the Western Civilization or something like that. It's like the director of the Western. Anyway, so she was like, yeah.
What is... Fuck, you put that on a business card?
Yeah. Hey, here's my card. It's a white card. But, sorry. Yeah, I told you it's going to get corny.
But fuck, hey, I'm about it.
Yeah, man. I saved it all for you, bro.
Thank you.
But yeah, no, she was like, this is indoctrination. She was like, we're supposed to be teaching our kids about mathematics and literacy, not raising them up to be social justice warriors. And I was like, I think that's exactly what we should be doing. I think we should be teaching our kids how to be social justice warriors, like straight off the bat, bro.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's fucking breeding ignorance is really what it's doing. You know what I mean? And it you're right, man. I was quite infuriated when, you know, because when my kids went to school earlier on, you know,
Yeah.
their house names were indigenous and
That's dope,
you know,
man.
it was
That's
shit
awesome.
like that, which was like cool. It was that injection. But then you hear stuff about things getting taken out of curriculums, and then you're really like, well, where the hell are we going to get the information from? You know what I mean? Like
Totally.
they're literally ripping it out, and then it puts the onus back on the parents who then have to like essentially homeschool history anyway. You know what I mean? Like
That's exactly right. I was having this conversation with my housemates. We were talking about like, oh, I was really lucky because, my history teacher was indigenous, or I was lucky because my history teacher taught us about, talked about genocide. I'm like, yes, but we shouldn't have to be lucky to get our history. Like,
it should just be standard.
It should be standard.
Yeah.
Why do we have to be lucky to like get, it's not like a bonus
to
level.
get facts.
You know what I mean? Like to get facts about this land, So
we're entitled to.
that's
the knowledge.
exactly right. And so I'm glad that things are changing. It's hilarious seeing the right resistance to that because you can see right through it. How can we, push for a go-kart track in Bathurst on top of sacred sacred Wiradjuri land on a sacred Wiradjuri women's site, but the same people can get angry at, students holding up a Black Lives Matter sign in school. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, you can see right through it.
Yeah, straight up. Yeah, man. Fucking oath.
Yeah.
Jeez, we can talk about that one. But yeah, man, fucking straight up. Okay, so I mean, look, you talked about upcoming project, so hectic. Any like cultural focuses for the remainder of 2021? Are you just gonna let the music speak? Is that the main focus?
Well,
speaking through music.
Yeah, look, it's been good to be able to we've been touring this project, Warangu River Story. We just came back from Brewarrina, and I did like Walgett, again, like all these things that have led to this particular way of navigating. COVID has now rendered all international travel like not happening, obviously.
Yeah.
But then we get to like tour our own country. We get to
Straight
like
up.
cross country. Like we get to see our own country. And so it makes all the more sense to be able to tour Warangu River Story through the rivers. Like we're chasing the rivers.
Yeah.
Almost to the fact like we got chased by the rivers because of the floods, right?
Yeah.
So like if we did Walgett, Colorado Bry, Lightning Ridge, Gaduga, which is like right underneath the Queensland border, and then in Brewarrina, which is like northwest New South Wales. Do you know where Dobby is?
Yeah.
So like from Dobby it's like a further 5 hours.
Right.
So from here it's like 11 hours.
Yeah.
If we left that tour 1 week after, the whole thing would be cancelled.
Damn.
Because of the floods.
Meant to be.
It was meant to be, bro.
It was
meant to be,
They
man.
were holding off.
Yeah.
Right, that's crazy.
And so we're doing Wellington, Bathurst, and Lithgow next week.
Dope.
Yeah.
So it's still just pushing it out. And
Yeah. Tickets are available.
Yes.
Get your tickets for our Warangu River Story tour. Is it this camera? This Wellington, Bathurst, Lithgow. Go to my website.
Link in comments.
Link in the comments.
What's the website?
www.dobby.com.au/tour. www.dobby.com.au/tour. Salamat.
Salamat po.
Salamat po.
Tell me, okay, listen, you're a very unassuming character. This is the last one thing. Have you got any, like, just give me maybe a story, if you have one, of, like, you, like, walking in and people, like, really not the one that I told, because, like, that was my experience. But has there been any, like, situations where you walk in and like, people have just been like, oh, yeah, cool, whatever, and then you just went in and fucking smashed the set out, and they were just like, what the fuck? Like, because I'm sure it happens all the time, but... What the fuck,
in
bro?
that same voice too.
What the fuck, bro?
Yeah, bro. It actually, Luke Curry Richardson and I joke about this all the time. And when we were doing the thing in New Orleans, I went to an open mic night.
Oh, I think
and like they're doing their thing, everyone's rapping. There was this crazy gospel singer who like got up real falsetto way and like was like that.
And you were like, oh shit.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, God.
And then anyway, like they got some rappers to come up and I got up and I was in like an aboriginal. It's so funny. The footage is somewhere, But I had this Aboriginal flag on and ridiculous hair, and I got up and I did this rap, and like in the middle I kind of like go into triplets.
Yeah.
I want to be better than any we had. Whatever.
Me?
So it,
Yeah.
and the guy, it's really funny because the host was like, I guess he kind of started listening because he was finding the next rapper, and then he went, and he was like, "What's your name? Where are you from?" And then in the lamest, corniest way, I was like, "My name is Ryan. My name is Dobby. I'm from Australia." I was like, right in the pocket. I want to be better than any we had. Hidden with jazz. I'm the brother with them. Never want to come and sit with the cat. This in the bag already. And he's like, "What's your name? Where are you from?" "I'm from Australia." I was like, "Oh shit."
Damn, get that off the internet.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Footage coming soon.
Yeah.
Footage in the comments. Hectic. I love it, man.
It's fun doing that. Like when you just kind of, like you're saying, like unassuming. It kind of like.
Bro, you fucking blew my hat off or some shit. Like I just remember sitting there, like this guy. Why didn't he come up? He came up to me all like, "Hey guys, you guys gonna rap?" And then next thing you know, he's fucking rapping his ass off. Like,
I'm
why didn't
so
you just...
lame sometimes. Oh, hey guys.
It's the best though. That's Dobby, bro.
Hey, fellow kids.
These are my guys. Fuck, I just love it here. You know, kicking raps.
Does anybody engage in a hip hop?
Just wear the glasses with like the fucking like the tape on the middle. just pull
Steve
it out,
Buscemi with my skateboard. How do you do, fellow kids?
Yes, 100%. Okay. Lastly, and then we'll go to questions if there's some questions. So
questions? Wow.
yeah, well, people will ask some questions. We'll make people ask some questions.
Ask questions. Ask questions. No.
So yeah, get some questions in there if you haven't already. Anyone, just lastly, you want to put out there into the universe that you want to work with?
Oh man, that's the way to frame the question. I'm so blessed to be here. I'm so happy to be here, like specifically here with you, because I've been looking forward to this for so long, and I'm finally here. I made it. I'm on the Godpod. Okay. Hey. And like I look up to you, brother. Like I really, really love everything you do. And you give me inspiration, and it's been like an honor being able to like, just to kick it with you and to work with you, you know, with 4E and the mentorships. It's such a shame that COVID stopped us in our tracks, but I feel like we were like, especially with the crew we had. Yeah, we had dope. The kids that we had.
Straight up.
Man, it was going to be great. And so I just love everything you do, man. And thank you so much for having me on the show.
Nah, man. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for being here. So, yo, let's start the questions. Make me feel uncomfortable and shit.
Esky, bring it.
We got questions. You ready, Dobby?
Okay.
This one's from Chloe Quayle.
Hey, you know it.
If you know, you know. Chloe, when will you ever release the first track you made?
Oh, shit.
You're killing me. Oh, my God. I know she's probably dying laughing right now.
SoundCloud link in the comments.
Clouds are so funny. Clouds are so fluffy. Boost.
She was talking about clouds in the whole comment section.
Has she been talking about clouds this whole time?
I didn't quite understand what she was saying.
Can you ban someone from the stream? Is every question based on clouds? Next question.
Next question.
Look, I'll answer that. Never. The people they're not ready yet. No.
The people ain't ready. Next question from Barker.
Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm just getting like trolled here.
Barker's got a question here. Are we going to start this sitcom, aka comedy skit? Now this also sounds like an inside joke. I'm not sure.
This is going to be full of inside jokes.
That's all good. Everyone will be Googling after.
She wants to do, what was it, like we've got like a couple of things that we want to work on, Chloe and I. Deadly Smiles is our like, I think our rap duo, because we both have deadly smiles.
Nice.
And
Straight up.
what was that other one? yeah, we got a couple of skits that would be good for black comedy, but like our own thing. We'll work on something. We got to catch up.
Ask
Sweet.
Izzy's question.
He's got. There's a whole bunch of questions.
Is Izzy there?
Yeah.
Izzy.
Shout out to
Oh,
Izzy, man.
Izzy's
Appreciate it.
question is ready.
Okay.
Who's your favorite MC from Penrith?
I can't deal with this community, eh? Bro. Izzy. Izzy's my favorite MC from
Who would have
Penrith.
thought?
Bro,
You're the
shout
man.
out to Izzy real quick, because he was the one that like taught me properly how to freestyle. Like he's like obviously the, you know, just like
The god.
so he's the god he's the goat for freestyling. He's just incredible at what he does, and yeah, big ups to Izzy, you know, the second best rapper from Penrith. Nah,
Wow.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm playing.
We've got a question from Molotov.
Ooh.
Oh, here he is.
What was the question that you wanted to ask Lee during the interview? Was it-
Oh, okay, yeah. Well, okay.
What?
Man, that's a big. How much time do we have?
Shit.
This is like the last, but no, you got all the time you want.
Look. If you can answer this real quick, like
Yeah.
it was in the context of like of the industry, so it's kind of a loaded question, but you can answer it however you want. It was something along the lines of just like your career, and like I didn't get to know you until like afterwards, right? But like you're an incredibly like you're a goat, you know. And all
that's crazy,
all the stuff like that was coming up, I don't really know about those stories, and I was kind of like was gonna sort of like low key get into that, but I don't know if we have enough time about that. But like, can you say like a sentence about that time in your life and what maybe something you learnt from that time, or like navigating through the industry shit? It's a loaded question. You can answer it however you want.
Yeah. Like it's funny, a lot of like it's great talking to you because there's a lot of actual insight that you have to
Right.
just touring and getting out, and I suppose understanding the work that's required, and I suppose really respecting and fucking living in the culture.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's something that for me, for whatever reason, the culture clicked to me.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? And I always have respected the culture, even to this day. But also, like, the one thing that has always made people stand out from the rest has always been the work. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, a lot of people don't know, but before the Fig Kid shit,
Right.
I actually, like, I was living out of home and I was working and I was doing all my own stuff.
That's dope.
But I actually went and worked on an album with, no guarantee, no clear-cut picture, no anything.
Yep.
For 2 years while I went to work, and then I'd go studio, then to work. And mind you, work was at Liverpool and the studio was in Crow's Nest.
Crazy.
All right? And sometimes it would be with a train.
Yeah.
Sometimes it would be with a car. My car would, get busted.
Yeah.
And it took two years of, like, non-stop. And then I came out just to have people shit on me because of my accent, because I grew up in Bankstown and I didn't fucking really like click with the Australian stuff,
Totally.
because
Totally,
I grew up
brother.
in an area that was like notorious for fucking gangs.
Yeah.
To a point where it was like, stabbing, shootings. Like a lot of the homies went to jail or fucking dead or stuff like that, right?
Yep.
So then to be taken the piss out of when you take it so seriously and you fucking bleed for it was a real kick in the guts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But then, I'm blessed to be able to, the people that matter, stuck with me and still always keep their door open and you know what I mean? So I've got some real fucking fam, in the scene, in the community.
Yeah.
And mad respect to people like yourself, because, I see you making all these inroads and bro, if we want to see anyone win, it's, people like yourself who,
Thank you, man.
again, organic. I say the word organic so much, but you've really learned the methods, and you've been humble enough to accept when you need to learn, but confident enough to stand up for what you are and who you are, probably more specifically. And so it's amazing, man. But yeah, so I suppose that's That's a long-winded sentence of
Yeah.
like, put in the work, respect the culture.
I love that, man.
You know what I
yeah,
mean?
that's great. And we'll definitely have like bigger yarns about it,
Oh,
I reckon.
fuck,
Because
straight up.
I wanna delve deep at some point.
That's another couple of hours, yo.
yeah.
Anything else?
Yeah, I got a question.
Oh, shit. RJ, you creep.
You creep. That's what he said.
No, I was gonna ask you, Dobby. Seeing that you're part Filipino, I got two questions. You've been to the Philippines, right?
Yes, but ages ago, 2010. Ages ago.
Hopefully you remember this. But this question would be like, what would be your most memorable time in the Philippines, and what was it?
That's the thing. Like, okay, most memorable because I went with my family and I was underage, so I didn't get to do much. Apart from like our big family reunion that we had, we went to Enchanted Kingdom. Was it Enchanted Kingdom? I remember going with my Kuya Romel and Uncle Bonning and meeting a lot of the family. Well, like not meeting, but like getting to see them when I can actually like lucidly remember everyone instead of being like a 4-year-old kid. And not, yeah, it's been like few and far between. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, we were actually going to go soon, but COVID hit, so we didn't get to go.
Are you planning to go back to the Philippines and doing any music stuff over there?
100%. I really like, and that's the other thing. I didn't get to say this before, but hip hop is a way to, engage culturally with my identities. I love my cultural side here in Australia, and I have an obligation to be able to connect with my Filipino side. It helps me, like, I want to be able to rap in Tagalog. And what I, like my mother's language, I want to be able to do that eventually. And I say that all the time so that I actually get off my ass and do it.
Thank you for the answer.
Thank you, bro.
RJ, that was a good
great question. I
RJ.
wasn't expecting that one.
No, yeah. I actually love that. Thank you.
It's from Mackenzie.
Oh,
Mackenzie,
yeah.
hey.
Where's Dobby gonna be in 5 years?
Oh man, right here. Godpod. Come on.
Get it. Where are you going to be in 5 years?
5 years. What year is that? What year are we in? 2021. 2, 3, 4, 5,
2026.
4. 2026.
Oh, that's where you're going to be.
What do I want to do? I hope that this career can take me to more amazing opportunities to be able to make music with new like I want to be able to lead with an orchestra. That's like one of the main goals. I want to be able to have a drum line on the stage like Beyonce Homecoming style. I would love a marching band. I would love dances like Luke Curry Richardson and like theatrics that we're try I want to see like a acting like short film maybe sort of stuff. Like I want to write, like I just want to keep being creative and like delving into these new and explore these new sort of fields and disciplines because it's all so exciting, you know.
It's crazy you use the word discipline as well because straight up that's really what it's about.
Yeah.
Hectic, man.
Yeah, that's a great question. That makes me dream big.
Thanks, babe. Appreciate your questions. Killed that.
Hope you're well, Mackenzie.
Another question? Yeah, I've got more.
100%. Fuck, let's go.
That's hectic. If
See?
it's Parker or Chloe.
Can it?
What are your personal ways you stay mentally strong, especially as an artist and being so politically charged?
What are your
What are your personal ways for staying mentally?
What are your
there?
personal ways for staying mentally strong? That's a great question. Who asked that?
Oh, that was me. I just put it in
Oh,
there.
that's lovely.
I tried to
No,
just rub it in.
He's like low key, like he's got heaps of questions, but he just selects like
Speak of it.
one.
What are my ways for staying mentally strong? I think like it's such a great question because I think like that makes me think back to COVID, you know, in those 2 months when I didn't do anything. And it was like I've been thinking about this a lot, like what you have to keep coming back to, like what keeps, like what inspires you and fills your life with meaning. And for me, it's music. And sometimes it was, you know, a lot of the time it's not hip hop, it's like soul or it's singer-songwriter. Jazz is a big one, man. I love my jazz and like I grew up on jazz. So that's one. Maybe it's like watching a good TV show. Maybe it's like reading a good book. A walk is really important I try every day, every second day, every day to walk. Podcasts, conversations, just filling your life with that sort of stuff because it helps you, like, you know. I also love movement. I love being around things that are moving, whether it be like on the train or people watching at a cafe.
Yeah,
you know,
right.
movement helps my brain sometimes. It helps me cognitively, like, click, you know. If I see people walking around, I just like, I feel like I'm in something. I feel like I'm a part of something. Do you know what I mean? Sometimes it's good to be away from shit. Sometimes it's good to be in the middle of it.
That's crazy. A lot of people are trying to get away.
Yeah.
But
Away.
it's the balance, right? It's the yin and the yang.
One of the sorry, now I'm like on a tangent now, but like some of the best moments in my life have been like where I have no idea where the hell I am. Where I have my phone completely off and like I don't even know where I am and I'm just like lost to the world. I'm on like some cliff edge or not like on the edge, but like just like there's.
I'm mentally strong.
Yeah, I'm mentally strong. Sorry, that sounded like real thing. No, just like going on a bushwalk and like feeling like, okay, there's only me and this country right now, and that's where I am. Or like going on a drive. That's one of my favorite things to do is just to go on a drive. I have a thing with my friend Michael Brady. I'll message him and be like, bro, give me a direction. And he'll say southwest, and so I'll drive southwest. Or
Really?
he'll be like northeast, and I'll drive northeast.
Fuck, I need to get on that tip. That's hectic.
Yeah. And he doesn't know where I am. I just go. And
you
it's
don't
the
know where
best.
you
I don't know
start
where I'm
from.
going to go.
You
I
don't
just...
start from anywhere specifically either?
No.
All right.
I like it. I don't know if it works for other people, but I love doing it because sometimes... And I'll message him and I'll be like, bro, you gave the wrong direction. I'm in the water. Like...
This is the last time. Oh, shit. Nah, fuck all that.
But yeah, I love doing that.
Hectic, man. That's it?
That's it. We got a special request from Barker. I mean Chloe.
What is she?
She said, "Can you guys crump at the end?" But
Fuck.
I'm gonna play the theme song, and it's up to you guys if you want to crump at the end.
Nah, man, where's Dario, man? Big shout to Dario. Dario, Crump King. I can't crump. Although I had one person tell me one time, yeah, like it's like if you didn't know where your wallet or keys were on your person, and then you got mad and you stomped about it, and then you threw your hat on the floor because you were so pissed off, that would essentially be crumping. Oh, well, shit. Oh, big shout to Shutdown. Shutting in the building. Yo, big shout out. I can't do it. Shit. Hey, listen. Big shout out. Mad love to the crew, Open Source, Ricky, Eski, RJ for the intelligent question. We love you. Molotov, man, thank you so much for rolling through, bro. Seriously. And big shout out to everyone involved with this absolute legend here. Mackenzie, love you. Mia, love you. Phoebe, Miles, Millie, love you. And yeah, it's a wrap. Thank you so much.